Louisville, national champions, 1980.
Cardinals have won the national championship. 75th NCAA college basketball champions.
What's up, brothers? Welcome to another edition of the Third Banner Podcast.
That's how we're starting the night.
That's how we're starting.
What's up, brother?
I was playing in that. Shout out to kids.
Man,
Special teams, special plays, special players. Hey, listen, we're live on a Friday night. Chat, I'm just going to be honest with you guys. We have nothing. We're here to talk to you all. We're here to talk to you guys. So let's hear it. We'll probably talk some portal
recruiting. We got a lot to talk about. We just don't have a plan.
Yeah, we don't have a plan. We're here to just chat it up, talk to you guys. We'll probably talk some portal recruiting, some spring game. Y'all want to talk to Kentucky hire? We can do that too. Josh,
do we want to talk? We would never relegate ourselves. We are classy. We would never revel. Yeah, right.
Yeah,
First off, let me just say we have a celebrity on the night.
Yeah, we do.
Jan and the boys Twitter account. Jan and the boys. Josh, who's famous now for making the UK collage video that went completely viral. So I consider Josh at this point a special guest on the pod. He's not even a co-host anymore. It's like we probably need to question him like we would have guessed. A special guest. That thing went wild, man.
Yeah, like making a cut up of Kentucky fans like Twitter. That's not something I would do. So I don't know what you guys are talking about.
Yeah,
that doesn't sound like me at all.
We got Trace is in the building. Says, "What's up, brother? What's up, brother?" Couch House, like always. Jason says, "Rip Credo." We were gonna talk about that. Gonna let people file in, and we'll talk about that a little bit for sure. But we're going to wait just a minute. Let some people file in. Go-Kart says Alabama transfer has a prediction to Louisville.
Yeah.
Yep, that's what we're hearing. C-Miles, not really feeling how I'm already hearing folks on Twitter sounding negative about recruiting.
Man.
We'll see. We'll see how it goes. It's still early.
It's early. It's hard. I think what happens, I'm trying to put my mind where other people may be, is you can't always see the big picture. And after what we went through, where people kind of preach, like, wait till the roster fills out, or what we went through with the last administration, I think, nothing ever came out of that. It was like, guys, just give it time. And then the longer time you get, it just got worse. So not that PK is anything like KP. I mean, he's already proven that, but some people are going to take longer. So that's what I would say in response to that. And also, when you have 3 guys on your roster and you need to fill 10 or 11 more spots and you can't see the big picture, people start to get a little nervous. So I think it'll all work out. I will say, if by next weekend we don't have a big visit list lined up, and let's just say Maddox doesn't commit, for example, and he decides to go to, let me tell you, if he goes to visit other places, I don't think we're getting him. I know other industry people say, oh, he could come back, and that doesn't happen. Like, these transfer portal visits, like if you leave, you don't commit, and you go on other visits, you go other places. And then you commit there. So, like the kid at IU, Ballo or whatever, he's probably going to commit to them. That's what it's looking like. And that's why they set it up. So I say all that to say, if we don't get Maddox and then you go into next weekend and you have a bunch of guys that you think you should be getting, you don't get a lot of those, I think that would be the point where I would get concerned. But right now, no. I think we're fine. I think we're perfectly fine.
Yeah. No, and I think we've heard rumors that our roster should be mostly set by the end of May. So
by Derby.
No, by Derby. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry. End of April, early May. Our roster should be mostly set. So
Derby first weekend in May. I don't remember. I don't live
first
over
first Saturday in May.
First Saturday in May.
Yeah.
So
I come up for a lot of derbies, so I do know that one. I think the thing is, like, it's hard, Kyle. I think you hit on it pretty well. Like, I think people have PTSD from KP
That's
because
what it is.
that whole like moving in silence or let the cake bake. Not
Which
to bring up
he's
old
not
people,
moving in silence, so that's not.
no, right. And
Yeah,
he's not. I mean, at least he's out there. Like, you can tell he's
catching footballs.
Yep, exactly. Yeah. It's like
Yeah.
you can tell he's out there, like putting in work, but like it is hard when people are like, you just need to be patient after what we've been through. But like this time, I think when people are saying be patient, you can really trust that like he is putting in the work and it's going to pay off with our NIL, our facilities, and like his ability as a salesman. I feel good about what we're going to do from a recruiting standpoint.
That's some of what I was saying. If it's after next weekend and we don't have a lot of guys, a lot of guys, we had the guy from Washington coming in, that kid, his name escapes me, but he looks like a player. But let's just say you don't get Maddox, you don't get that guy, and we don't know, and all of a sudden you start hearing like the Alabama guy he seems like a death piece, but that's all you're hearing. At that point, I'll entertain an idea that maybe things aren't working out. But for now, I think we're doing really good. Corin Johnson, that's correct.
Yeah.
They wrote it Quran, but it's Corin. It's just funny. It's probably autocorrect after
Right.
all this
Quran so many times. But
we got Trent in the house dropping $2. Super chat says can't see with my eyes closed. Any suggestions? Trent. I got nothing, brother. I got nothing. But hey,
maybe
I will say your work. Your work on the
your eyes closed. Glasses
depth chart. Your work on the depth chart stuff that was pretty dope, man. So
yeah, thanks again, Trent. That was great, man.
Yeah, it was really well done. Someone did point out a spelling error, and like that's my fault. Like I should have proofread that. Like, dude, you were doing that at like I don't know, like 2 a.m. or whenever. Like your crazy hours. So that was awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah. I was going to make sure Ty didn't have, so I was almost going to cut him off. I didn't want to. I was going to say, I think now we've got some people filed in. Obviously, we had an unfortunate passing this week. I mean, very unfortunate. I didn't know Ja'Cory super well. Corito is what everybody knew him as on social media. I did, when I started doing those spaces with the Power 10 and I started really using Twitter in the last year or so actively. As we started the pod, I realized like I hardly used Twitter. And when I did, I just commented on a couple people's stuff. I just didn't use it much. But the more I used it in the last year, the more I came across him. And like I said, I don't know him like some of you guys do. Like I was hoping to meet him at a game this year. He was towards the very top of my list of people that I wanted to meet. After talking to him directly a lot online, he just seemed like such a good guy. Hilarious guy, naturally hilarious. Not the kind of guy who's trying to be funny or who's corny, like a genuinely funny dude. He would have me dying all the time in those spaces in particular, man. Just some of the stories, like, I'm going to give one quick story that just made me laugh so hard. Like it was not long ago, which it just makes it sad. But I had tweeted my stepkids were at their dad's. My daughter went to bed early, and I tweeted out, like, I didn't see where Power 10 was doing spaces. I didn't see where Diener or any of them were doing one. And I was dying to do spaces. I don't remember what was going on, but I was like, guys, who's doing the spaces tonight? And Corito gets on there and goes, you do it, Kyle, and I'll be right in there with you. And I said, man, I don't want to fumble through it and come off like I'm Drew Diener trying to run the spaces. And so he said, his words, I think, were, fuck it, I'll do it. And then he gets on there and makes a space, and I get in there. And it only lasted for like 45 seconds, and then his connection went out. And it was the funniest 45-second space in the history of Elon's X, Twitter, whatever you call it, man. It was hilarious. I mean, he was basically like, Power 10 don't want to get on here. And then all of a sudden, Power 10 gets in there. He's like, oh, Power 10, it's so good to see you guys. And like his way of talking and his humor, man. And then all of a sudden, the spaces just cut out, and we just got in the power 10 spaces, and we were all just roasting them. But like I said, man, I don't know him like some of you guys did. I'm really sorry for those of you that were really close. Ross, that's usually on our pod, was close with him, and it's sad, man. I'll miss it. I remember the Eric Crawford back and forth. He handled that so well, and Eric was just having a bad day. He apologized. He didn't really mean anything by it. But the way Carito handled that and just everything, man, I don't know how you guys took that, but boy, it really hurt me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was very sad to see that on Twitter, and we're definitely going to miss him. Like I said, I too didn't have like a real personal relationship with him. I don't think I've ever met him outside of maybe running, past him at a game or something. But Carito, I've been in a lot of the Power 10 spaces with him, and he was always just hilarious and always just seems like a really good, genuine person. And yeah, this was not cool. It was very, very bad news. It sucks, and I'm sorry to anyone, family, friends. Obviously we'll be thinking about you. So we wanted to get have a little segment dedicated to Carito, who is one of the better fans and
die
the more die hard, well known on Twitter, and yeah. So we'll be thinking about the family and friends and all that. So
yeah, the outpouring on Twitter was unbelievable. Like the amount of people, like even players, like I think Peyton Siva gave him a shout out. Like
Sky Clark.
Yeah, like the amount of people that just said like nobody had a bad word to say about him. So
No.
I mean, I didn't know him personally either, but like at this point, like I'm sad that I didn't. Like I wish,
right.
So anyways, sorry, the Cardinal community is hurting from this one. And sorry for anybody who's been affected.
Yeah. So moving on to others, just beyond, like, that's obviously like a super sad thing. But as far as like what's going on right now, which is what Carito would be on here because he listened to the Third Banner a lot, he would want to hear about what's going on. So we'll transition into what's going on. And Ty, I don't know where you want to start. This is your show tonight, buddy.
I'm trying to get Trent, who is watching but not sending me the video of the Alabama kid. Trent, I've messaged you. I need you to send me the video. But anyways, before we go into like recruiting stuff, do anyone want to see Pat Kelsey and his ability to field punts?
Oh man, I'd love to.
Potential punt returner for the season. That's what I'm thinking. Let's go ahead and pull that up.
Let's do it.
Mm-hmm.
And for anybody who hasn't seen it, you're in for a treat.
No, this is gold. This is perfect.
He legit looks like he could be a player.
He looks
like a slot receiver.
Looks like every 5'7" white slot receiver you've ever seen. It's
yes.
Look at the kid go.
It's basketball Twitter account, by the way.
Crowd in the stands, as you can see, is going wild.
That's awesome.
I want you to grade the technique here while fielding the punt.
He fields two, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. The second one, though.
The second one's awesome.
The second one's so good.
Wild.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I like hearing the recruits in the background.
Uh-huh.
No, they're eating this up. It's windy out there too. I don't know if anybody was out and about today. It was windy.
It's windy and it's cloudy, right? Like it's.
Here it comes.
Sheesh.
I wish it could have lasted just like another 5 seconds to see what to hear what the reactions were. That was great.
So funny. I saw that they posted on Instagram too, and the top comment was actually Lamar Jackson. He said something about Coach Kelsey. So
really,
it was kind of cool.
That's a guy getting your corner for sure.
Yeah, Lamar was loving it. I know that.
I'm not gonna call anyone out specifically, but can you see one of our prior coaches doing that? Like,
No.
I was thinking in my head, like, trying
I
to
don't
picture
want to get into it, but like,
no, I wasn't even gonna say it, but you went.
yeah, but like,
Jan and the
just
boys
no,
went there.
I couldn't see it.
Yeah. So anyone that's still upset about that, direct all your hate to Jane and the boys.
Yeah, right. I put my Twitter handle in there, so
Yeah.
Just
y'all
comment on his viral video right now.
Hate tweet.
That is something worth talking about for sure at some point. The coaching search. I don't know when you guys want to get into that, but
The UK search.
yes.
I know we have a couple of UK fans tonight listening. I know that for a fact. As a matter of fact, as we were going live, one of my good buddies who's a UK fan asked if we were going live. He wanted to tune in. So I'm good with transitioning to that if y'all want, to be honest.
Yeah, I got a guy that he works with me in conjunction with me in the marketing aspect, and he's a huge UK. He's like, he told me the first episode he ever listened to was when Dusty May turned us down. I was like, oh God.
Oh no,
that is not normally
that's
how our
not
blog
the first
is.
one you want to watch. We
like,
were
no.
so down bad.
And he was like, well, I've watched a couple other ones since, and I was like, okay, but you know, he's a big UK fan, so
I mean, look, let's get into it. So this is my thoughts, and I've been like, we've all been on Twitter, obviously, the last few days, and seeing the reactions and things like that. And I've listened to a lot of spaces and radio shows and things like that. This is my stance. I've seen a lot of Kentucky fans in these spaces on Twitter say that we're now the laughing stock of college basketball. And yes, that's true as of right now. But but anyways, it's not you're not the laughing stock because you hired Mark Pope.
No.
Like anybody that knows anything and is not just a casual college basketball fan knows that Mark Pope can coach. Now, he doesn't have the resume that you would obviously want if you're hiring a coach at UK or anywhere like Louisville or something like that, right?
Right.
But everybody knows that he can coach. The reason why you're a laughing stock is because of your fans' reactions acting like children throughout this entire process. When it comes to, making fun of Louisville for how their search went and saying, oh, we're going to show you how a big boy actually does a coaching search. And it goes exactly belly up, just like ours did for the most. Like, listen, I'm going to sit here and tell you, I don't think any of us were like, oh, Pat Kelsey's our number one choice. And I certainly wasn't. But when I got to like actually sit back and be like, you know what? Let me give it out. Let me hear him out. And he goes in that presser and he killed it. I was like, all right, I'm on board. Let's go. Mark Pope can coach, but the fans are not going to give him a chance at all. At least from what I'm seeing, they're not. Now, some are starting to turn around and quickly change up, but that's why you're the laughing stock, because you all acted like you were just going to storm into Connecticut and go get Dan Hurley because you're Kentucky. No, that's not. No. And we all tried to say it. All of our fans tried to tell you you have no chance. It's not going to happen. You're wasting your time. And then Scott Drew, you try that. We're Kentucky. We're just going to. No, that's not how it works anymore. It's not because you're not a big brand. It's just not how it works.
I'm sorry for people like Laura who's like, I'm muting this. Like, this is great. Like, we don't talk about UK much.
Yeah,
but this
Laura,
has to do with Louisville. Like, if you don't want to listen, brother, don't. Like, I'm not.
Yeah, Laura, like it is what it is.
I don't like when people try to put power over you. Like, I'm not listening. Like, okay, fine, that's your choice.
If you don't want to listen,
it does relate to us, because guess what happened when Dusty May turned us down? Like, well, first off, when Scott Drew turned us down, well, Scott Drew wants to go to UK. That's all we ever heard. Scott Drew wants to go to UK. And that's why he turned you guys down. You guys aren't UK. You're not as good as us. Scott Drew's been dying to go to UK. He's definitely coming to UK. And so then when it looked like he was coming, he didn't. And I'm like, okay. And then but the cope was even better, because when we lost Dusty May, when he decided he wasn't going to Louisville, when he was going to Michigan, that's when it got really bad. Like, Louisville is out here shooting for the stars. They're just a low mid-major program. They can't get these kind of guys. They're not that program anymore. Their fans are delusional. And so then watching them just fumble around when they tried to shoot up after missing on Scott Drew, and they're like, well, now we'll just go get Danny Hurley. We'll just throw as much money possible. He can't say no. Like, no, that's not how it works, man. And of course, he says no. Nate Oates, they claim, never was offered. Well, that's because he said no before you could even knock on the door.
He said no, it wasn't even open yet.
They literally showed up to his gated door, where they talk, like where like the high rollers, they have their gated community, and you have to pull up the gates and they talk on the microphone. He got on there, was like, get out. He didn't even give you a shot, man. He didn't even open his gates for you. So you can't claim that, you just didn't offer him when you didn't have a chance to. So then you get to Mark Pope, who could be a good coach, but there's nothing on his resume that's better than Pat Kelsey right now. Nothing at all. So, maybe he can end up being a better coach. It doesn't matter because the amount of crap they talked, and I want to make this point up front, even if he ends up being an incredible coach, you can't come back to when we made fun of it and laugh because we're laughing because you had to settle for somebody your whole fan base didn't want. And you said you were above that. We at least admitted, like, hey, PK, who's killing it right now, was not our first choice. He wasn't our second choice. And he wasn't a lot of fans' third or fourth choice. We'll admit it. Most of our fans will admit it. It doesn't mean he can't be a great coach, but you guys don't get to come back if he ends up crushing it and say, this is why you're UK and Louisville fans were wrong. No, we're laughing because even if it works out, it was sheer luck. It was sheer luck. It wasn't because you found the guy you wanted. No way.
No. Well, and I think from my perspective, like all the shit we got for our coaching search, I feel like 0% remorse about making that video. Like absolute, like negative 0. Like I could not go any lower, right? Like, and I think the thing is, like, in that video, if you watch, I never made fun of Pope. It was strictly about the fans' reactions to the coaching search. It was like, we're going to march in and get whoever we want. We're big boys. This is a big boy search. You're going to watch how big boys do a search. Like, it was one thing after another. And then it was like these reports like, oh, I think there's going to be, Matt Jones saying that, like, there's going to be cameras at the airport because the new coach is going to be there and everyone's celebrating it. Nope. And then they're saying, oh, Billy Donovan, he's going to save us. And then he comes out and says, nope, not doing it. Like, it was just one thing after another. And then you had the whole restaurant thing, which was just so, like, such a Kentucky thing that was just so unique and hilarious. And then you had Chip Gaines just roasting Kentucky fans on Twitter. Like, dude, it was like a TV show. Like, it was so
great. It was great.
That's what's funny about it. Like, you said it really well, Kyle and Ty. Like, we're not laughing because of Pope. Like, he could be great, dude. Like, we don't know, but it's just the way that went down was so funny. Like, we're allowed to laugh at this one.
I actually think he's going to be a good coach there. But yeah, like you all made fun of us the entire time. And like, the thing is we tried to tell you because we went through this exact same scenario. We were all like, I'm just going to be honest. When it got to Pat Kelsey, we're all like, what the hell happened here? Like, what's happening? Now, obviously, since then, and ever since he took the job, he's been killing it. And like, I'm not mad at all now. I'm so excited and fired up for the Pat Kelsey era now, but I'm not going to lie to you. That's exactly how it went. And you made fun of us the entire way. And then you said, watch out, boys. This will show you how it's done. And then we tried to tell you this is what's going to happen. That's why you're the laughing stock. And that's why we're laughing. And why nationwide people are laughing at you. Again, it's not because you hired Mark Pope. Anybody who knows ball knows that he can coach. He obviously doesn't have the resume you wanted. And I question how well he's going to recruit, but we'll see. I think he could coach, though. But the reason why you're getting laughed at is not because of who you hired. It's how you said, we're going to show you how it's done. And you, in fact, did not show us how it's done. You showed us that it went exactly like we were told you it was going to go. So it is what it is. I think it's hilarious. And Josh, your video was beyond funny. So
Yeah,
it is.
the amount of non-Louisville or Kentucky fans that reached out to me and were like, dude, the delusion is just like, that's what's funny about it. And like, so many, and people who were like, hey, like, I don't want to put any, but like, I had to tell you directly, I'm not going to put it on the feed, but like, that was perfect. Like, that captured it perfect.
The amount of delusion that I saw when I saw it was 9 out of 10 UK fans, like the day that the search started. Dan Hurley. Like, no, he's at equally. He is, and if anybody wants to argue this, I'll argue all day. UConn right now is just as equal, if not a better job than Kentucky basketball right now, and that's not like putting you all down. It's just that's how good UConn is. They're just as good. So why would he leave that?
See, there you go, Lauren. That's kind of our point. Is like, I think we got the better credential coach, and the point of bringing UK up and all of that was because it does tie back to us, because that's all we heard. And like, you got to understand, like with us running a pod now, like we get more attention than if we were just using Twitter or something. We have guys that just tag the pod from UK every time something goes wrong, and they're just trolling and talking crap. And so we just sit back and we bide our time. And honestly, we've been biding a lot of time because it seems like thing after things happen to us and they just get discouraged. And then this happens. And it's like, yeah, you know what? We're going to use this as set an example. We are, because it's not about talking about UK and what happened in their coaching search. It's about saying, you guys aren't the dudes you thought you were. And when you laughed at us because we weren't the dudes we thought we were, at least we knew that we weren't the dudes when we did, we talked about on this pod, maybe it's harder, but it's a harder market to get those kind of coaches. You just don't see big coaches going to big schools anymore, unless it was like an alma mater thing, like Roy Williams and Chris Beard going to UNC in Texas. They were going back to their old schools, but it was just crazy how that ended up being, guys. Just came full circle. And so no matter what happens for him at UK, they didn't win this search. They'll just get lucky. No. So anyway, I do.
It might
the portal.
It might work out in the long run. But it's just funny to see how that went down. And we tried to tell you, and you all didn't want to listen. So it is what it is.
Did we ever get that video?
I do have it. I'm
nice.
Just looking at some comments here. I think a lot of people are asking about the Bama guard. Well, I think we have a little video from a game against Ole Miss we might play. Russell says, don't discount the portal. More experienced players. They were well represented in the Elite Eight. Yep, that's true.
Yep,
it's true.
I agree.
Todd is a good buddy of mine. He's a UK fan and says, how good was Dan Hurley before 2 years ago? Kyle, do you want to tell him what I was telling everybody about Dan Hurley 2 years ago?
I will tell him, but I'm going to say it in a way you're not going to like it. Yes, Ty did predict that Dan Hurley was going to be a good coach, and I was one of them that was like, I don't see it. He's not doing anything at all that makes me think he's going to be great. But what I will say is I don't think Ty anticipated, and he may disagree with me, that he was going to completely revamp his offense after it was failing at UConn, and he did like a complete 180 with his motion offense. He like basically sat down one night and looked at everything he was doing. It was like, this is not sustainable. Now, if Ty wants to say that he knew that Coach Hurley had that dog in him and that he had
I knew he had that dog,
then fine. I mean, I guess I just couldn't anticipate that he would have the kind of system he had and then revamp it. It would be like Scott Satterfield going air raid and having this like completely unpredictable offense this year where he's not doing stretch left and he's, not throwing a bomb on 2nd and 1 that falls to the ground and there's no in middle ground. It's either stretch left or bomb. And he's got all these intricate things like a Jeff Brom offense. And like nobody can comprehend it. And then Sat just goes on this big long run. And somebody's like, well, I always thought Scott Satterfield would do it. Like, okay, I guess. But I don't know. But he has always been a big Dan Hurley fan and always thought he'd be a good coach. I'll say that.
Thank you for giving me credit. I no, for real. I didn't think. What I didn't think was that he would be like this dominant, where he's just completely
Yeah.
dominating college basketball. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you and thought that would happen, but I did think just 2-3 years ago, I was like, dude, I really like what I see out of him. Like, I think he's going to trend up, and now he's literally the best coach in the country. I think, in my opinion, like he's right up there with Self and and anybody else you want to put him up against. So
I don't know if they're gonna like. He may win like
Right.
6 or 7 titles, man.
Dude, they could be another dynasty. They could.
I mean, they lost most of their team off of their title, and they had a better team.
Right, they got better from last.
He's already hitting the portal hard, apparently, or at least based on his tweet.
Dan Hurley's tweet today was hilarious. I don't know if you saw it.
Yeah,
it's so funny. All right, everybody's screaming about the Bama guard. Everybody is screaming Bama guard.
We want it.
So let's get into it. Kyle, do you want to I didn't get to see what the official intel scoop was. So what's
So there was a Twitter account, and I don't know the account, but it said that they were predicting he was going to Alabama, from Alabama to Louisville. He's transferring here. I think there's now a on-3 prediction, but I know Trilly had mentioned it in his Discord that he's one to keep an eye on. So he's apparently way up there on our list. It's kind of crazy because he's not on the visit, and he's the one that's being crystal balled. So that's kind of interesting. So.
Okay. Let's play this YouTube video. Forewarning, I haven't seen this. I don't know anything about this kid just yet, but his name is Davin Cosby Jr.
Yeah.
So let's play this a little bit, see what we got. And for everyone wondering, we have to go no sound for the YouTube vids.
Yeah. Don't want copyright.
All right, where am I looking at? Who is he?
Yeah, I'm not sure who.
Okay, number 4.
The guy that just drew that charge.
All right.
Number 4. This was his best game, by the way. He had 15 points in his game.
And he is a true freshman or a redshirt freshman?
He's a true freshman.
Okay.
I'll be honest, drawing the charge as the first highlight is a little rough.
It's good.
It's good, but yeah.
I think this is just in order. Well, no, it's not because it's 74-7.
It doesn't excite the highlights aren't that exciting when you got charges.
I watched his transfer portal highlights on YouTube, and it's just him shooting spot up threes for 90% of the video. And
I mean, that's Bama's offense, though, right?
Right, that's true.
Kind of, yeah. It is that, but I do think there's guys that drive a lot to the basket, and he's just not one of them.
It looks like he's got a nice shot.
He shot 34% from 3 this year, so
it's not terrible, but it's not great.
Not great. I mean, if you're not going to have Rain Smith doesn't have much off shot creating ability. He's usually spot up, but he's a dead eye. And I mean, that's kind of how you have to be. If that's your main game, you have to be able to stretch the floor and consistently hit that. Otherwise, you have one thing that you're doing that's not, if you're not that good. And Nate Oates runs a similar offense, or PK runs a similar offense as this. So there's that.
We got a charge, and he can dribble out a game. So
92% free throw shooter, foul shooter as well.
I want to see the jump shot.
That's what Chet just said in the chat. 92% free throw shooter. That means he should be able to hit the 3 better too at that clip.
It looks like he understands how to get open without the ball, which is
he moves well without the ball. Yeah.
Which is why I think you're going to have to do that in this offense. So
this is not an eye-popping highlight reel for a sense of how's his ability to handle the ball, create a shot for himself or others.
Right.
I don't know, and that's kind of how his whole portal video was too. It's not just that game; it was mainly him just. He had a couple of drives to the basket, but I think I was looking at the percentage. I think he's gotten 10% of his buckets at the rim. He's he shoots 36% from the field and 34% from 3. So what's that tell you? It tells you he's mainly shooting threes.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I just wanted to say, like, I think you also have to caveat with that Alabama team was pretty stacked, and he's a freshman, right? So he didn't get a lot of run, and I mean, justifiably so. Like, not a lot of players would have played much with who they had on their roster. So
yeah,
we do have to caveat it with that. So really, you're looking at potential here mostly. Like, we had those Ole Miss highlights, but like he didn't play a whole lot. So basically, you have to go off of potential and kind of what you saw in high school. Luckily, we do have a really good end with Word of God, where he went to high school with one of our assistant coaches. So like, if the coaches feel good about it and he's going to be like a depth piece, I mean, at this point, like we have no reason not to trust him.
Right.
Sorry, Kyle. I wanted to bring this up. So Anthony says, guess that means Alabama's getting young blood. And I saw Cards for Life says we're still in. So I don't have like any real intel here, but I can tell you that Youngblood was originally supposed to visit here, I think, this weekend. And then Bama got involved, and I think he switched that, is now going to visit Bama. I guess you could say, yeah, we're probably still in it, but I think all signs are kind of pointing that he's going to go to Bama. Things can change, obviously, but as of right now, I think all signs kind of point to Youngblood going to Bama. So
that sounds about right. So I think where I'm at, I don't mind if we take this kid, but I'm curious to see how this plays out because we've heard we're in good on the Tennessee guard, DeLeon, who would be a depth piece. He would not be a starter. Nick Boyd is a solid depth piece. I think we can land him. He's on a visit right now. He's out of FAU, and he would be another one. I don't think he'd be a starter. Rain Smith, I don't think he would be a starter either. I think he'd be coming off. Charleston, he was, but I don't think here in the ACC, I don't think you want him out there as a starter. I think you want him coming off the bench as a spark. I mean, he's a really good player, but he's got limits as far as his ability to create out there. So what I'm saying is, if you got three guards that you're potentially sitting really good with, and then you've also got this kid, I don't feel like you can have four guards as depth pieces and then have two or three starting guards.
Well,
now, the problem we had under Kenny Payne was we had no guards hardly, or we had like two guards, maybe, or one. We had one natural guard his first season, and we had two, you could argue three guards total last year. And then the other thing is not to just have a whole bunch of guards and then not enough big guys.
I think you need like at least one really big fish, right?
We do.
Like
I think we need Maddox.
I like all the depth in like kind of like the role guys, like Boyd and them.
Yeah.
I like a lot of them, but I like Boyd a lot. I actually have a YouTube video teed up that we can go to once. But anyways,
I wanted to hit on.
I don't want 7 or 8 guards.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, when if you're thinking we have all these reserves, I think that probably means that Pat Kelsey sees one of these guys as starting caliber. So like either Rain Smith or that Boyd from FAU. I feel like he's not going to recruit 4 or 5 guys for depth, right? So he's probably thinking either Rain's going to start or maybe Boyd or something like that.
Well, we got a lot of NIL. We need to see some. I'm with Ty. We got to see a couple more big fish.
Well, I guess that means that like Maddox is essentially the big fish then, right? Like, and we all feel fairly good about Maddox right now.
And we did hear about the NIL.
Terrence Edwards is another big fish.
Edwards obviously.
He's a big fish.
Yeah, Edwards is huge. I don't know that I was on the show that night when we talked about it, but Edwards is huge. So.
Ross, yes, Youngblood is from Tuscaloosa, actually.
Yeah, so, he's literally from Bama. So
very, very small chance that we will.
Russell says, any interest in the Purdue guy, Mason Gillis? I haven't seen anything there. So I can't give you an answer, Russell. I haven't seen anything there though.
Yeah.
Laura says, I don't see Rain starting at the power conference level. He's a great shooter, but
that's where I'm at, Laura. That's exactly where I'm at. I think he's a good player and a really good bench player. Maddox is a guy we need to land, I think. I think we really need to land Maddox. You put him with Terrence Edwards. Now you've got 2 very high caliber guards starting.
Yeah.
And where you go 3 guard lineup or 2 guard, you need 2 of them to be big fish. Maybe we'll go 3 guard, put Rain Smith as a 3rd guard, but
yeah, I could see him being like our 3, right? Or like 2-3. Like I think there probably won't be a
That'd
big
be tough
distinction.
on defense, though. Man, I don't know
Yeah.
about it.
Boyd and Maddox could be starting guards. Yeah, possible. I actually have a
Possible,
YouTube
Boyd.
video teed up for Boyd, and the last thing I want to do before we go there, and we haven't really even talked about it, is Baloo from Arizona, the center. He's
Mhm.
currently on a visit to IU, right? And then visits next week.
Now there's somebody on the board said that I'm a huge IU fan, and I talk about IU all the time, which I don't. And and he said he watches the show. So and I said, well, I never talk about him on here. So here we are talking about IU, but it's only because this kid's visiting there right now. But here's what I'll say: I don't think he's gonna make it here. My same IU connection that told me about Mbako, which I would not post on the boards. That was back when everybody thought I just hated KP and was looking for any reason for him to fail. They were still in that mindset. I knew he wasn't coming like 3 days before he announced it to IU. And I told my brother-in-law who's on Peaks, and he dropped the scoop on there and ended up like getting all this, they were all like, holy crap, it happened just the way you said it. Well, there's a guy who a high up IU connection that I have, better than any connection that I have with Louisville, because I actually live up here in Indiana. And they seem to think that he's going to go to IU. This is Woody's number one guy. Like, he wants this guy more than anybody. My understanding is Trace Jackson Davis has been in this kid's ear. Khalil Ware, who's going pro now, who just played at IU, has been in this kid's ear. And they're going to do the same thing they did with Mbako. They're going to roll out the red carpet and like personalize his visit to the point where like they take his upbringing, his background, and they include it in his visit as like, hey, we care about you. This is what we're going to do. It's really smart. I mean, they did the same thing with Mbako.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going, of course, everybody wants them to commit on the visit, but they're going to make it really hard not to. And they have a lot of money. Like, we have good NIL here, but they have better. So
I mean, it's
I don't
like,
think he's coming here.
We just got to hope that he, obviously leaves IU visit without committing. If he does, and he makes it to our visit, then I think you'd have to say we feel pretty good. But I think the early word right now is that everyone's thinking he's going to go IU. I think he's already got a crystal ball, so we'll see how that goes.
That's right. Brandon put that in tonight, this evening. He put in a crystal ball too.
Robert Northcutt says, where can I see the video so I can laugh at UK? So Robert, if you're on Twitter or X, go to the Third Banner Pod Twitter account, and I think we have it retweeted. If you also go to Josh's personal Twitter, which he has in his handle, I'll show you right here.
Jan and the boys.
Jan and the boys. If you go to his Twitter, he has a pin, so it should be the first tweet you see.
By the way, hear Mark Blankenbaker on his morning show say his Twitter account is Jan and the boys, and then hear Beaner go, Jan and the boys.
So I got to tell that story really quick. Sorry, Ty, but like,
no, go ahead.
So I lost fantasy football in college, and so the punishment was whoever lost, the guy who won got to pick your socials. So my Instagram, my Twitter, they're all Jan and the boys. One of my buddies picked it. So I
was wondering where that came from.
Right.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Oh, this is a good Corey Bryant says, what happens to the steam with John L. Davis? Oh, I clicked
I got it.
thing.
There you go.
Oh, I don't know what that. I'm just gonna leave.
I got it.
All right. What happened to the steam with John L. Davis? Well, I talked about it on here, I believe. And my theory was always this, and I think it's coming to fruition. I've always felt like this was the case. So that plane flight to Boca was for Nick Boyd. I'd always heard Nick Boyd was a player that we were interested in bringing here. And I'd said at the time, like, Nick Boyd, we're all hearing Nick Boyd. All of a sudden, we started hearing about John L. What happened was when I think it was me that actually sent the plan. Somebody did. Somebody sent like, hey, he's going here. Here's the tail number. He's going here. I shared it. I think Dalton shared it in our group chat, and then Dalton Pence on Locked On Louisville. And I was like, dude, I'm tweeting this out. So I tweeted it out, and all of a sudden everybody's like, oh, wow, he's got to be going to see John L. Davis. And what happened is that picking up steam led to like attention. And of course, he probably was aware, like, hey, my name and Louisville are being associated together. The FAU players are aware of it. A lot of those FAU players don't like Pat Kelsey. They had a run-in during their game where Weatherspoon said something to him. None of us know what exactly. I think he might have told him to get off the court because then Pat Kelsey had some words to say to him, went off, talked to Dusty May, the officials separate him, this big old hoopla. Well, a few days later, Pat Kelsey tweeted, "Hey, 23, am I allowed on this court?" And I thought that was a little bit over the top. Like, I don't think he should have called the player out in a tweet later. 23 was Weatherspoon. So that's why I think he may have told him to get off the court. Maybe that's why he tweeted like, but whatever he said, it rubbed him the wrong way. Pat Kelsey's reaction rubbed them the wrong way. And to me, this was an opportunity to get back at him in a way. Like, I just found it funny that all of a sudden, the day after all that news came out, an On3 article comes out about him being like, Louisville's really pushing hard for John L. Davis. And nobody had heard that up to that point. And then within like minutes of that article coming out, Weatherspoon just slams our coach. It's like desperately crawling, trying to get our players when they don't want any, none of us want anything to do with you or whatever. What goes around comes around. So consider this like karma. And John L. Davis immediately likes to tweet. It looked to me like they use interest in that flight going to visit one of their players as ammunition to push an agenda to make him look stupid. And before you say, well, then why would Nick Boyd be interested in Louisville? Well, if you look at Michigan, they're not on his list of schools of interest. I don't know what that means, but it tells me he may not be super close with Dusty May, or at least not close enough to where Dusty feels comfortable bringing him to Michigan. So I'm not going to get into how close Nick Boyd is or isn't, but it sounds to me like he was never part of this group of people who didn't like Pat Kelsey. Otherwise, why would he be visiting right now? So it sounds to me like there's a faction of FAU players who use that interest and use that social media steam to push an agenda. Hey, look, we turned down Pat Kelsey. We turned him down and we got the last laugh. And it's childish. It's petty. And you can call me a conspiracy theorist because a few people did when I first brought this up on a message board. But here we are. Now Nick Boyd's on a visit, and we haven't heard a word about John L. since all that happened. So what do you guys tell me? Was I right or was I wrong?
Well, I don't know. I can certainly follow. I can certainly follow that.
Because, I mean, the whole article comes out that we're pushing hard for him, and nothing's happened since. His name's not come up once. But here's Nick Boyd on a visit.
Speaking of Boyd, do we want to transition to some highlights for Boyd?
Let's do it.
Sure.
Let's do it. So look at the top here where it says he scores at the rim 54%, like that's 29% of his attempts. I think that's something you were talking about, Kyle, with the Bama guard, is Kelsey wants guys that will literally, it's the Nate Oates like kind of like style now, where it's either layups or threes. And I think you're going to see that in this, video.
I think he's got to get that percentage up of field goal percentage at the rim. I think it needs to be a little higher than 54% because that's like 1 out of every 2 shots at the rim going in. And that's
and this is my point exactly. The very next transition where he scores left above the break 3. So it's layups and threes. Right. That's what PK wants.
I really like him as a guy off the bench.
I do too. I like Boyd a lot. I like Boyd a lot.
I haven't seen him take a charge yet.
No charges.
That was surprising to see too, because charges aren't really much of a thing anymore.
And not to lead off the video, right?
Well, there's just the new rule changes. It's like you can't if you're an on-ball defender, you can draw a charge, but you can't just step in and take charges like from the paint anymore. When somebody's driving in the lane, they won't call it. They'll call it a blocking foul.
Russell, I see you're definitely allowed here, bro. IU UK fans, we don't care. As long as, if you want to be here and listen to us on a Friday night, you're more than welcome.
So, Russ, there's people call me an IU fan because I have an IU connection and live in Indiana. So
I live in Indiana. My entire family is IU fans except for me. So
IU is my
it
second
is what
favorite
it is.
team, but it's such a distant second. It's just ridiculous to even talk about. Like I can't tell you a lot about them. I can tell you everything about us. Like there's an obsession with Louisville basketball. But
If you ever wonder, if you all ever wonder what kind of targets PK is going for, and like you're ever on videos and you see these little highlights and stuff, if you see exactly what I said, where the first thing they're doing is finishing at the rim and the next thing they're doing is shooting threes, take it to the bank. That's who he's going to look for, because that's exactly what this is.
he's in
Taking
the
the charge.
81st percentile in catch and shoot.
That's really good.
That's really good. So
wild.
that's a lot of these guys can catch and shoot. So that's something to kind of talk about. I see a lot of catch and shoot, like Rain Smith and the Bama kid that we were looking at. Nick Boyd does have the ability to create his own shot, at least to an extent. So that's good. I think we need a few more of those kind of guys. I mean, Terrence Edwards can do it, and I think Dante Maddox can do it. I hope we're going to watch his highlights tonight too.
Yeah,
we're going to need a facilitator too, right? Like with all these shooters, we're going to need somebody.
Yeah, that's that. I don't know who that is right now.
Well, and look at this spot up percentage. Top 75%. That's what PK wants, man, and I'm here for it. I like if you saw how Bama played, and I know it's like lazy to compare PK style to Nate Oates. It is, but in theory, it's a very similar, right?
It is. I mean, I've
It's
watched
a similar
several of their
mentality.
games since he was hired, just the full games, and I'm like, this is a less athletic version of Nate Oates, like the College of Charleston. They're just and then they played each other, and it was the same thing. It's like they both lit up the scoreboard. I mean, College of Charleston had like 92 points, but Bama had 106 points. So it was literally just a 3-point shootout and layups, but one team was vastly more athletic than the other one. So that's what I see. I felt like I was watching two similar styles, just one that, I would love. I'd like the dream would be to get guys that can all create their shots and spot up from three.
Right.
That way it doesn't matter who's driving the ball up the court with his up-tempo offense. They can distribute to others because they can draw in the defense. I'm a little concerned a couple of these guys can't do that very well. So you're going to have to get a couple that can, and Dante Maddox would be one.
Yeah. No, for sure. I mean, I think the big thing, and we've talked about this on other pods, but I'm just really curious to see how he's going to build out his roster. Because you said, Kyle, earlier, with who he's recruiting, seems like there's a few reserve guys. But to Ty's point, catch and shoot, obviously that's going to be a huge part of the offense. So a lot of shooters. So it'll be interesting to see how he fills out the rest of the roster, though. Like I mentioned, is he going to have a guy with 7-8 assists a game? Is he going to have a big Golden who can pass? I know he was an FAU guy, but I love his game. I think he would be awesome. Someone like him who can pass to open 3-point shooters. But it'll just be interesting to see what he does, because you can look at his College of Charleston team, but now he has the Louisville facilities. He's got NIL. I mean, it's a totally different world. So we'll see if he changes his approach at all coming to Louisville. So,
thanks for kind words, T. Will.
We were talking about it before.
Hey, Desmond.
But you know who I really, really want? If I find out that PK is going for him and reaching out, I'm going to be hyped. Is Rylan Griffin from Bama, because he's played in that system and he's perfect. Yeah, I think he went to the portal earlier, if I'm not mistaken.
I know that's a guy. When they said it was a Bama guy, I was like, who is it? And then I was like, oh, I don't mean that to be mean, but when you think it's gonna be one guy and it's not, it's kind of like, oh, okay.
Luke is a good buddy of mine. He says, "What are your all's thoughts on the Washington guard who's visiting next weekend?"
Corin
I think
Johnson,
we all really like
beast.
Corin Johnson.
We
can see some Corin Johnson video too. I'm down for it. I'm here for it.
Corin Johnson, Dante Maddox. I want to see the Dante Maddox transfer portal video tonight, where he's just shooting threes from the logo.
I'm here for it. Let's do Maddox and then we'll do Johnson. I'm down for it.
Yeah, Maddox is on campus, so he gets the nod.
T. Will one says Boyd had Davis and Martin in front of him last year. Started almost every game on the Final Four team. Boyd is a must.
I'm pretty sure he's hurt too. I'm pretty sure he's hurt this year. And so that was part of the reason why he was kind of relegated to the bench a lot. I mean, somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that Nick Boyd had struggled through some injuries this year.
Russell, in short, no, because literally the entire team is in the portal. Now, there's like rumors that Mike James might come back and stuff like that, but so far it looks like no. That's just what it
Mike
appears.
James might be the only one.
Yep.
Tyler Nichols,
Hey,
I'm not putting your comment up, brother. I'm not
Russ
doing
does say thumbs up to the chatters. Help these guys out. Yeah, if you guys like the video, I mean, just pretend it's $1 million of NIL money per like, and it all goes to the circle. So how many guys do you want? And the reason I say that is because it does help our algorithm. It pushes the video out there to new viewers. And if you are a new viewer and you like what you hear, please subscribe. It helps out the channel. So that being said, Dante Maddox, let's see it.
All right, hold on.
Excited for Dante.
Dante Maddox. Now, just keep in mind, like, because the YouTube feds, we're going to limit to like 3-ish minutes. But
I do.
Well, the other. Yeah. Oh, sorry. I was just gonna say the last thing I wanted to say about the Bama transfer.
Yeah.
Is I know it's lazy to say it's like the similar system, but like if he's a player that they thought could fit that Bama system, and PK he could fit. I mean, they are similar, so clearly both coaches saw something that was a fit. So let the jury be out on that one, because there's just not a lot out there for him, and I think he really could work.
Yeah.
So we got some Dante Maddox clips. And again, the very first thing you see where he scores at the rim.
He's another one needs to get up just a little more, 55%. I like it when guys get around 65, 70% as guards at the rim. But when you have the ability, he at least has the ability to do it, at least semi-consistently. But his ability to hit the three, man, oh my, it's ridiculous. Like, this is not. He has like that shot there. He has like 20 of those in this highlight video, like 20 of them. And then I'm like, well, what's his 3-point percentage? Because is it just all the makes? Well, it's over 40%. So no, he makes that shot a lot, and he doesn't miss it very much. I mean, look where he's at. It's sheer insanity. How do you guard it? How do you guard that? And the amount of space that it creates when you have to D up on a dude as soon as he crosses half court, man, that's something. And he's powerful too. I mean, he's a big frame guy for his size. He's not going to be a guy that just sits out there on the perimeter. Like, that move there was a very aggressive move, jump stop, mid-range J there. And then look at that. He's got a little bit of explosive ability to him. Somebody said Klay Thompson, but I don't know. I mean, I feel like Klay's more run around and I feel like Rain Smith's more of a Klay Thompson, just not as athletic or tall, but he has more of that mold of running around behind the line and then getting off ball screens and getting open threes where you just catch and shoot. That's mainly what Klay does. But this kid here, I don't know who he reminds me of, but he's something, man. And if we can land this guy, I mean, look at that. I mean, step back from the logo, had a dude pretty close to him. I mean, look at that guy running out there. He's like, oh,
I'm not look where they're playing too.
Right. That's crazy.
Look how far they're running out to stop him, because they're like, this guy you can't let him out there.
He's got some pretty deep range. Pause.
That's crazy.
Insanity.
Dude, him and Rain Smith playing pig would be wild. Like, they'd be like across half court.
The spacing with those two on the court, if you have somebody that can distribute,
it's crazy.
Oh man. Like, look at, I mean, that logo, that's like his 3-point line at home. When he's on his home court, that's his 3-point line.
I just hope we can get a big who can pass it, so the ball doesn't get stuck inside.
Now, my question is, do you think he's going to play the point? Because I think just from all the extra ball handling clips that I'm seeing, I think the plan is to play him at point.
He's a combo guard listed as, but I'm with you, Ty. I think he will end up being a point unless we get a guy out of the portal that we don't even know about yet, which is always very possible.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Still no charges, though.
No charges.
Yeah, I'm looking, but
yeah, look at him. He's just like running around. Like, see, when you can do that, like he just dribbles around the 3-point line until he decides he just wants to shoot it.
Yeah, Trent. Like, and when I say play the point, I don't mean like play as a pure point guard. I just mean like
facilitator,
facilitate. Initiate offense, things like that. He's obviously going to be a huge part of the offense, and he is more of a combo guard. But I mean, more or less like he's going to initiate the offense. He's going to bring the ball up, a focal point. That's kind of what I mean.
Yeah, that's a good point because I could see where people would be like, we're not looking for a Peyton Siva type of point guard here. We're just looking for somebody that can consistently handle the ball and create offense with the dribble, and this kid certainly can.
Trent brings up, and I'm going to be honest, Trent, I love you, brother. Your football stuff is awesome, but me and you have always butted heads when it comes to basketball comps. I couldn't agree more with you, though. Devontae Graham is kind of what I'm thinking. I actually really like that comp, to be honest.
We got to get this kid. He can't leave.
Well,
he can't leave campus. Like I know one of the recruiting guys on their website's like, look, he's gonna take all of his visits. No, we can't let that happen because I'm telling you, it feels comfortable to say, well, he could always come back to you. They don't do that. They hardly ever do that. It's very rare. And now high school recruiting is different. They do that, but transfer portal, when you're trying to make a decision a couple of weeks, it seems to me like wherever they commit is where either they A, are on a visit, or B, they literally just left and they're hopping on the plane and they commit before they get in the air or as soon as they touch down. Mm-hmm. So you got to roll out the red carpet. You got to do whatever you need. You need Third Banner Pod to do an on-site pod and just praise him, tell him how awesome he is. We'll go down there and do it right now, PK.
Well, and you can see from watching his video why there's like an NIL bidding war going on for him. Like that's the rumor anyways, is that like his price just keeps going up. And Xavier and Illinois have been talked about as being just even with Louisville, but supposedly we're willing to write like pretty much a blank check to him. So there's some hope there, but man, there's going to be a lot of competition for him.
John, I see where you say between him or Youngblood. Youngblood's not here this weekend, at least from what we can tell. I don't know, early in the week it was I'm not even here to troll you about that, Kyle, but anyways, the point is Youngblood I don't think ended up making it to campus, and I believe all signs point to him going to Bama. Like I said, that things can change, and if it does, we'll obviously let you all know, but I think all signs point to Bama.
There was another platform where like a bunch of people were like, "This Youngblood's here. Here he is in a picture," and so they sent a picture. Dante Maddox is clearly there. They're trying to take a picture of Pat Kelsey in his uniform, or no, actually he wasn't in uniform yet. He was just standing there on the sideline, and you can see Dante Maddox. And there's a guy right in front of Dante Maddox, and all these people are in a live chat are like, "This is Chris Youngblood. He made it. He made it after all." Because remember, we thought he was going to make it on a visit. Then we were told he's not going to visit because Alabama pushed hard, and he decided, okay, I'm not going to visit. I'm going to go to Bama instead. Well, then we see a guy who he looked very similar from a distance to Chris Youngblood. At least I thought he did. Other people had me convinced. And a media guy comes in the live chat and goes, that is definitely Chris Youngblood. Mm-hmm. And then another media guy, apparently, which I can't confirm the other media guy, but apparently another media guy echoed that sentiment and was like, yes, it's Chris Youngblood. So I tweeted out and then immediately regretted it because my live chat was like, it's not him, man. And they had all these reasons why it wasn't. And I was like, crap. So then I deleted my tweet.
The best part
go ahead, Josh.
I was just going to say it ended up being a 2026 football recruit.
That's exactly what I was going to say. It ended up being a high school kid that Jeff Brom is bringing in this weekend. So that's a funny part.
We're ready to be good at basketball. That's how ready we are.
I mean,
We're ready.
2026 will get here at some point, but yeah, I'm not gonna.
All right. I have Corin Johnson if we want to go there.
Yes.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. He's visiting the 20th. Is that Thunder weekend, right?
Yes.
Okay, that's huge.
And worth noting that he's from Seattle, and Peyton Siva is now on our staff, or at least last I heard it was unofficially official. I don't know if that changed where he was announced, but
I don't know.
I would not be surprised if Peyton Siva has a lot to do with the interest here, but could
I
just
don't know
be
if you noticed, but what's the first thing in this video?
Speed.
Where he scores at the rim.
Not a chart.
It is not a coincidence. It is not a coincidence that the first thing you're seeing in all of these transfer portal targets, scoring at the rim, and shooting the three.
Well, here's what I do wonder too, though, is I don't know how these guys break down their highlights. They may always start with the same metrics. I don't know.
Well, I mean, think about it. If a player's not like good at shooting threes, I don't think they're going to bring that up early,
well, they'll
right?
bring it up because I remember Trey White got brought up when we watched this video last year, and it wasn't pretty on the three.
I kind of said that last year, and people kind of looked at us funny, but
So they'll put it on there, but I don't know if it's just how the order of how I don't know, but either way, he looks good. Looks really good, fast, explosive. I don't know, guys. I do want Dante Maddox, I think, because he's a bucket. But if you could put this guy and Dante Maddox together.
That's what I was about to say. Imagine that as your starting
Terrence
backcourt.
Edwards as your three. That's what I want. I want
that would be wild.
Dante Maddox, Terrence Edwards, and then, of course, we still got the front court, which we still don't know a whole lot about. Of course, we got Scott from College of Charleston, but I don't think he's going to be a starter, at least not yet.
Well, and they haven't showed. I mean, he's a great defender too. Like, as good as he is,
Johnson's a really good defender.
Yeah, he's a great defender, and he's like a tough dude. Like, he'll get like I love his game.
So, yeah, Trent says Mike James at the 4 for small ball. Man, I'd really worry about him on defense. As a 4. Oh boy, I worry about him on defense as a 3 if I'm being completely.
We went over this last year with Mike James, where Kenny tried to make him a 1 at one point, and we've been over this.
We didn't have one.
I really like Mike James as a player. He is a 3. He is a 3, and can give you maybe some minutes at the 2, but he is a 3 through and through.
Yeah. He, a little spelling minutes at the 2, which I don't think he's going to spell minutes at the 2 anymore, based on the way PK's recruiting.
Right, like
I think we're going to have plenty of guards, but I do worry a little bit about front court. But my goodness, if you get this kid who's played, by the way, this guy, he averaged, I think, 11.5 points a game, but that doesn't even tell the tale, because what really impressed me was that his last month of the season, he averaged 19 points a game. And he really rocketed it up and had a lot of really good offensive games. And he's got attitude to him. And I mean, positive attitude. Like, he's got some dog in him from everything I was watching on some other highlight videos.
Okay, I'm just gonna say I love this Johnson kid.
I know. Same, dude. I'm really excited about him. Like, he might be number 2 behind Maddox of guy.
Oh, Larry, sore subject. He asked me about my boy at Ball State. He's talking about Bashir Jihad. Well, Bashir decided he couldn't get enough of those hot women at Arizona State on his visit, apparently, and he committed to ASU. So, I mean, I can't blame him. I'm sure
88th percentile in spot up threes.
But he's not coming here. Larry.
Dude, I want this kid.
Dude, so do I. Like, I'm serious. Like, I watched his stuff earlier, and I was like, dude, I don't know. Like, I love this guy.
You know what I'm getting right now, though, guys? Portal traumatic stress disorder, PTSD.
No. We're not doing that. We're not doing that.
You know why? We watched a Washington guard last offseason who was explosive, and we got hyped up on this pod. We were brand new. We were still wet behind the ears with this pod, and we rolled the Keon Minifield highlights. I know that's not going to happen under Coach PK, though. No. Portal traumatic stress disorder is real, though. It is real.
It is. Yeah, dude.
All right.
And I just like the Seattle guard mentality. Like, they've had so many good point guards come out of there, like Tony Rotten, Peyton Siva. trying to think. I mean, there's just like it's ridiculous. Like if you go through
Seattle, Seattle. That's one of the cool things. Like if you ever go back and look at that, like recruiting fertile grounds and things like that, Seattle puts out talent all the time, and it's always good. It's always good guards. So I'm glad you said Tony Roten. That's like a blast from the past.
Oh, he trolled so. That was when
that's a
Twitter
blast
was
from the
like.
past.
That was when Twitter was in its really young days, and Tony Roten
The
was
infant
like
stages of Twitter.
He was like Barry, Barry, the troll account on Twitter, or Butt Crack Sports, and all.
Yeah.
We got a million troll accounts now. Tony Roten was the first troll of trolls, and it was always Louisville fans every day on the message boards back in the Scout ITV days were just like, Tony Roten with another tweet. He's coming, guys. He's coming. It's like he literally just tweeted he was going somewhere else, and then he tweeted schools that he had no interest in at all, like. I look good in the line eye orange, wouldn't I? I was like, you're not even considering them, bro. Like, stop.
He's a troll for sure, dude.
Thanks, Larry, for the compliments. He says, damn good job on the videos. I think he's talking about your video, Josh. So the UK video.
Oh, I think it's about like just going through the highlight videos, I think. Like describing
I wish I was good enough video editing to put these together.
You're probably right, Josh. Well, either way, thanks, Larry. Where's Josh's UK collage viral or
look, they want more video. I'm happy to put together a highlight video and with some Creed for
they want more
time.
videos.
So I'm happy to do that.
Who else do we have we can do a video of? I think we're out, aren't we? Is there anyone else that we haven't done yet that we're considering? I don't think there is.
There's like a couple high school guys, but
I will say this. Since we use a lot of their stuff, I think we should probably give them a shout out. So College Basketball Scouting is the YouTube account that put together a lot of these transfer highlight tapes and stuff, and they're really well done. They really are, and they really highlight what these players are good at doing and stuff. So if you want to check out more of their stuff, definitely go give them a look. I think we should probably put them in our description too.
Trent says them a lot, on Maverick Rowan and Jaquan Lyle.
Okay.
Two names I don't want to hear either.
You're dead.
What about Cat Barber?
Oh my God.
Marcus Teague. Like there's so many.
Okay. Deuce Bello.
Right.
Joe, I will be shocked if he makes it on that visit next week.
You remember Deuce Bello, Ty? He had another guy with him, and I remember back then, like they were like a package deal.
Miller,
yep.
Yeah, and then Baylor ended up just like backing up a truck, is what I've heard.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah,
of course
they did.
They backed up a truck of Bibles, is what they would tell you, John.
Yeah,
and just like,
but the Bibles were stuffed with $100 bills.
Church and sent the biggest truck they had, and just nothing but Bibles, and that convinced them. It had nothing to do with money. Yeah, that's what we're gonna tell ourselves.
Yeah, we could go through a stupid list.
Antonio Blakeney, Trent says that was another one. Antonio Blakeney.
He played forever. I think he might still be playing.
He somehow made it to the NBA.
He had one amazing NBA game. He had like 30 points, and then just nothing. He's like, I got one good one in me.
Cards for Life brings up a good question. Who's your guys' favorite transfer from any Louisville team? That's easy for me. It'd be Carlik Jones. I love Carlik Jones.
I'm assuming you're talking about transfers in.
Yeah, that's what I assume he means.
Well, that's tough.
Reginald Delk.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, he was solid.
Reginald
Delk. I only laugh, not making fun of him, but I'm laughing because I just wasn't expecting that. Like, and you came up with it so fast, like Reginald Delk. I mean, it's got to be Luke Hancock, guys.
Dude, I have a lot of
I don't want
to stuff that I collected.
The chat agrees. Look, Hancock is the only answer. Yeah,
I actually have an autographed Luke Hancock shoe that
MIP, baby,
in my basement. So
that's
my
not only that, but Luke Hancock's still around the program, and he's doing good things with the ACC network and on the radio, and he's still a proud Louisville Cardinal. And,
I'll bring the shoe on a different pod.
Trey says David Padgett. That's I forgot. Yeah, he transferred from Kansas.
That's a good one.
Damian Lee is a good one, even though he's only here a year.
So, okay, but let me ask you this, because I see the Hancock stuff. is it fair to say that Hancock was the best transfer just from the impact that he had? But like when it comes to your personal favorite, like that's obviously subjective, like whoever you think. But
subjective, yeah. I
agree.
Yeah, I guess they say who's your favorite. It's still Luke Hancock for me. I mean,
dude, it has to be. I have a Hancock.
Yeah, but he talks shit, man. Don't let him fool you on the ACC
Luke was
network with a
awesome.
suit on, looking all like GQ, talking all professional. Like he got in those players' heads so bad. He's the kind of guy I would not be able to stand if he was on an opposing team. But he's the kind of guy that I love more than any of them when he is on your team because he got in people's heads, man. He was. Let me say, I don't want to get too bad. We got in the weeds a little bit on 2014 UK loss with SVT on, but Luke Hancock was in their heads in that game so bad and just giving it to them and just no fear at all and was just gutting them. And then the refs were like, hold my beer. I'm going to change the outcome of this game. 2 phantom fouls on the bench. He ended up having 3 fouls in the first half. And that was all she wrote. He could hardly get back on the damn court until towards the end of the game. And the game tone was already different by then. But Luke Hancock was that dude. He was that dude. And he had a weird, sneaky ability. He wasn't overly athletic, but somehow he could always get into the lane, and you couldn't stop him. He just had like a high basketball IQ, man. And, of course, the 4 threes against Michigan. You could argue that's the most iconic moment in Louisville basketball because
for sure.
Who didn't think we were cooked? I mean, I thought we were rotisserie. I thought we were on a rotisserie just rotating around.
I know that's
350 degrees, baby. I thought we were cooked, burnt chicken, man, because that was their backup doing that. I thought when Trey Burke gets back in the game, we're done. I'm like, they're going to go up 20 points. And then Luke Hancock did what he did.
Boomed him.
He boomed
him, dude. And, I mean, I have to say Hancock, too. Like I said, I have the autographed game-worn shoe that I don't know why I thought that I needed that. I don't know if I was, like, drunk some weekend. But either way, I have it. And then I also have a replica championship game jersey with Hancock's name stitched. And, like, those are 2 of my prized Louisville possessions. So I would be doing a disfavor if I didn't say Luke Hancock was my favorite transfer.
Yeah. No, I hear you all on Hancock, and like when I say Carleague, it's not like I don't like Luke Hancock, obviously, but for me, like Carleague was my favorite just because he was just a pure hooper. Like I thought he was awesome, and it's kind of a shame how that season really unfolded because he was so damn good. He was so damn good, and I think it's kind of I know why he's not really carved out an NBA slot. It's just because his size, but he is like tailor-made for the NBA. It's like a backup guard, and I loved Carleague. I thought he was badass. So, but there's been so many good ones, right? Like Luke Hancock. I've seen Marvin Stone in here. Damian Lee. Damian Lee was awesome. Dwayne Sutton. Dwayne Sutton is another one. Like there's just been so many like transfers that were so good here. And
what about Dillion? You want to do highlights of him if people want highlights? I forgot about him. I mean, I know he's kind of we're not hearing as much about him lately. The Tennessee guard that was a freshman. Sorry, I kind of interrupted there, but I was reading.
No, you're good. You're good.
I knew we were kind of talking about Hancock, but I know they wanted more highlights. So I didn't know if we had if we could pull him up.
I can try.
I will say he's a guy that it sounds like I thought he would be like visiting this weekend, maybe the way everybody was talking, and that he had us really high up on the list. Maybe he still does, but I know some people have said that we're looking at other guys too, and that maybe we're trying to see what plays out before he comes. But we can look at highlights. I think he's got a lot of potential. See, if we're going to take the kid out of Alabama, I don't know if it comes down to him or the guy from Tennessee. I just personally would prefer him, but of course I'm not the coach, so maybe I'm clueless.
Trent
don't answer that.
No, Trent says Mayor Wall highlights. I don't even know if there is any.
Gatorade handoff.
I don't know. I'm not trying to be mean to the kid. Like if he does
That's why I
I'm
ignored
not
it.
trying to do that.
That's why I ignored it.
I'm just laughing because I don't know if there is any. But
Trent's all trolling Trent, man.
Ty, did you find some highlights? I saw one of De Leon where he was like blocking a shot that, like, I mean, he's super athletic.
He's got some. He got some high school.
It showed up.
I have it right up here. College basketball scouting actually has one on him, so
I thought they did.
So we can do that. By the way, like before I play this, guys, like seriously, if you're looking for more of this stuff, college basketball scouting on YouTube. They make these videos. This is not us. They make these videos and they're so well done. And
but by the way, you're gonna have that music stuck in your head for eternity because they play the same song in all their videos.
Yeah,
same instrumental, and it's in my head at work. It's in my head when I lay down at night. It's just stuck there.
Because the YouTube feds, we gotta have no sound. And the first thing you see is scoring at the rim.
He's 67% field goal. So now that is the number I'm looking for out of a guard. At the rim, 2/3 of your makes. Russ, it's not. Well, yeah, you could post it. What'd you say it's called? Ty?
It's college basketball scouting is the YouTube account.
But if you go to Twitter and search these players' names, it should be like the top one.
It's almost always going to be the top one. Like they're really well done videos and things like that. So
we did hear from some Tennessee fans that they were upset about him leaving because they thought he had a lot of potential.
Yeah,
but again, it's a really deep roster.
I mean, I'm watching him, and he does have a lot of. He's tall. I mean, he's tall for a guard, and he's got ability to do things that you can't. Well, that's a nice alley. Ooh, that's nice. Nice vision to see that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's because he has great size for the position, so like he can see over and has good visibility and vision.
Look at that pass, though.
Dude, I'd like to see him and the guy from Washington on the court together, dude.
See,
like their length.
See, and I'm just, I don't know. I'm not the coach, but when I watch this kid play, and I hear we're really high on him, I just worry like how many depth pieces are we going to have? Because this kid could end up being an amazing player, but I don't think he's ready to start. He was a true freshman. He got hurt, and he actually came to Tennessee, and there was a couple of guys that looked like they were going to go pro, and they both decided to come back in front of him. So not only did he get like pushed back on the depth chart, but then he got hurt to start the season, his very first season. So he has all kind of untapped potential, but is he just ready to come here and start? I don't think so. But the problem is I'm looking at these other pieces that we're recruiting, and I don't think a lot of them are ready to start outside of Edwards and Maddox right now. And if the Washington kid gets here next week, he would be a starter. But I'm like Rain Smith, I think would come off the bench and be a 3-point specialist. This kid would be off the bench. Nick Boyd would be a great bench player, but I think he would come off the bench. And so then you got the Bama kid. Like you can't have 4 guards off the bench and then 2 or 3 guards starting. So I say all that to get to my point here, which is if I'm looking at this Bama kid and him, I'm picking him, man. Like I think he's got untapped potential. He was really highly rated out of high school, dealt with that injury, got log jammed. But Tennessee players in particular, like, man, we hate to lose this guy. But I'm not the coach. I'm not sitting here saying we shouldn't take the Bama kid. But I mean, you see what this kid's doing in his highlight videos. He's not just standing there shooting spot up threes. He's doing a lot more than that.
Yeah. Well, and I think it probably means, Kyle, that like one of these guys who we're not thinking is a starter, Pat probably or somebody sees him as a starter, right? Like maybe Rain Smith or
Nick Boyd.
I don't know, like Boyd. Maybe I could see Boyd starting. So I don't know. I guess we'll just have to let it play out. But you can definitely see the potential watching De Leon. I think that's what really jumped out to me is like you can see the athleticism, you can see the vision. So I don't know. I would take a shot on him. The Alabama kid, we just haven't really seen enough. But De Leon, like if he's like your 10th, 11th guy, like I definitely add him.
Well, and like there's more context to just building the roster for just this next year, right? Like let's think about it. When
Yeah.
PK took over and everybody went to the portal, there's literally nobody on the team. There's nobody on the roster. So you have to not only build a roster for next year, but you have to like try to balance the classes. Like you don't want to have, 8 seniors. Like that's not what you want. So
Right.
when it comes to like, DeLeon and the Alabama kid, like they're both freshmen, right? So you want to try to balance the classes, keep it where you have, a few freshmen, a few sophomores. Like I think Boyd is going to be a junior, if I'm not mistaken, or a sophomore. So again, there's more context to it than simply just building it for next year. Like, and I'm sure that's what Pat's thinking of is,
Right.
speaking of Pat, we got another Pat in here.
Pat,
Oh,
he wants
hold
to
up.
make you earn those $5.
Pat just
You
paid
get-
us
you got
$9, I
PTO.
guess, just to say hey, but then he paid us $5 for me to take my shirt off. First off,
Hey, Pat, that's a different website, brother.
Yeah, you
first
know the
off, why are
website
you
I'm
paying
talking
less
about.
to see me with my shirt off than you are just to see me with it on? That's my first question. My second question is, if I do this, then you're going to have to pay a whole lot because we're going to lose a lot of subs. So
Well,
you got to make up the difference.
that and I mean, if you do it for $4.99, like you're cheap, Kyle. You know what I mean?
I
Like,
know. You got to work.
Yeah,
You got to work a little harder, man. At least give me
At
the
least
illusion that you.
$7. Yeah.
Well,
yeah,
you
we
pay $9 without anything.
at least $6.50, Pat. Like, you
Right.
know what I mean?
Not
We're
9.
talking-
I'm sorry, 10. When you pay $10 for
Yeah.
nothing, I have no incentive to take my shirt off for $5, Pat.
Hey, Pat,
That's
listen,
to get
man.
us kicked off of YouTube because we're paying dudes to take their shirt off.
We start
Ross
taking
had a
shirts
shirt
off.
off on an episode once for a little bit. They didn't kick us off, so
Yeah, but he
We
didn't
might-
pay you to do it, right? Like that's different.
yeah, Cosby's coming for sure from Bama. That's what Trent said. Jody said to keep an eye on him, but it seems like everybody. Look, hey, Russ is paying me not
Russ
to take my
says
shirt off.
No.
$10 to not take your
Okay.
shirt off.
Hey,
Can
we
I
can-
raise you 20?
We can, yeah, we can make
Why
something
don't
out
you-
of this now. You could pay for me to leave my shirt on, or you could pay for me to leave my shirt off.
Listen, we might be heading
And
to
whoever
the,
pays
to
the
the
most
hub.
wins.
We're
We
in a
might be
dark place,
we
man.
might be live streaming on the hub before too long if we
Oh.
keep this up.
Bro, if we end up getting like a huge, like 502 Circle, huge donation to the pod, I would have to take my shirt off if that's what they wanted.
I mean,
I don't
yeah.
think I would. I don't think
Yeah.
y'all want that. I don't think we have to worry about that. We're good.
Russell, hey, thanks for the super chat, brother. Seriously, thank you. And
I don't
Pat,
think Rick
thank you
Keever's
as
going to
well.
come in here and be like, let's do a match.
Yeah.
Hopefully he wants me to keep my shirt on, because if Rick Keever comes in here, I'll outbid anybody that wants him to take his shirt off. I feel good. But if he's on the other end and
Hey.
says,
You're in trouble.
I'm in big trouble, man.
If Sydney Sweeney donates to the circle, I'll do a match.
Oh,
There you go.
boy.
Oh, geez. Here we go. She's a
Um,
Discord favorite, I think.
Russell, I'm not sure what you mean. So that we have our
Is it safe? Yeah,
is
yeah.
it safe? I mean, yeah, like I don't know how it looks from I can't see what you all see from my POV unless I'm watching, but we do have a link to where you can, donate. I think you've already figured that out with your 10, and it is safe. Like it just goes to us, and we thank you for it because it lets us grow the channel and we have to pay for the StreamYard and things like that. So seriously, like, thank
appreciate it.
you. We appreciate it.
Trent with another $2 says, Ty, take your shirt off and reveal your Raising Cane's tattoo.
Let's see it.
Oh, boy.
Oh, geez.
It's getting wild in here tonight.
R.I.P.
Yeah. So I don't know. I'll be interested to see what we do with the guard thing. But you know what? Actually, to get to that, I'm really interested to see what we're doing with the front court. Like, what are we doing with that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
that's
think
the only thing I haven't seen real updates on.
if we get into next weekend and we still are hearing about, like, we got another guard coming in from Washington who a stud, by the way. So I'm glad. Don't get me wrong.
Yes.
I'm happy about that. But if we get to next weekend, guys, and we still haven't heard about any 4s and 5s that we're going after in the front court, I'm going to be a little nervous. You can't just put Scott out there by himself as an 18-year-old about to turn 19, because if you remember, he is a freshman, but he's a year ahead. So he's technically like a true freshman coming in this year. So you don't want him out there all by himself. Come on now. Sitting Jay Wright's 4-guard lineup.
No, and I'll be interested to see what other kind of bigs he goes after. Like, we just don't know at this point. Like, if he's going to update his style at all, or if he's going to get like a more developed or further along James Scott type. We just, we'll
I want him to go after that kid at Tennessee, man. The center of Tennessee.
No, the
Adu. Is it Adu? Is that how you say it?
I can guarantee it's probably not Adu, but
Aidoo.
Adu?
No, I know what you mean. I just
Aidu. I don't know. Aido.
I don't.
Aido.
I think Adu is out. I think it's
we're getting
Adu.
further away.
AI. Well, that's why I'm getting further away because I think it's Adu.
Is it Hey Dude? Like the shoes? Hey Dudes?
I need to look at the spelling now because I get way in on that.
I just told you the spelling.
I wasn't listening.
Aidoo.
Joe, I hope we do, man, because Lou is freaking awesome. But I don't, as of right now, I don't see it happening. But things can change. If he makes it out of Bloomington uncommitted, and he makes it onto the Louisville next week, all bets are off, right? Like we could maybe get him. As of right now, I don't see it. We'll see. Russell says Kelsey must have a back or front court in mind. I would not worry too much. I don't know that we're all like worried per se because it's still early, but we
not yet. But I'm
do want to see some sort of progress there.
I'm telling you, if we get to this like after next weekend, we're sitting here the Monday after the Thunder weekend, and we don't have any word about any 4s and 5s really. I don't know. I'll start to get worried then. I'll be honest. I'll start to get a little worried, but not this weekend.
You better take Kyle at his word because worry is something he does
better than anybody,
better than anyone,
and I'm proud of it.
You should have seen.
People say
you all should have seen
too much.
Kyle.
No.
You should have seen Kyle on day 1 of football portal.
Day 2. Give me. It was day 2.
Oh, brother.
It was day 2.
More than 24 hours had come through. Yeah.
I was about to tell LMPD to start getting the boats out around the Sherman Minton on day 2 of the football portal.
You know what? Maybe the staff worries as much as I do.
And Jeff Brom heard you, Kyle, and he said, "Hold my beer."
Hey, but maybe they worry as much as I do. That's why they move like their feet are on fire. That's how I move through life.
Jeff Brom is the portal king, and he's heard you. He's heard you, Kyle, and he just wants you to know that you never have to worry again.
Well, I believe that, but I probably will just because I worry. That's just what I do.
Yeah.
But my point is, I'm not worried yet about the front court.
Yeah.
But if we come on Monday after Thunder over
Louisville, when his name's the third banner, right? So we call him the third bummer sometimes because like Kyle, he's quick, but like to be fair, like there have been a lot of times where you were right. It's just me personally, I'm like I'm gonna let it play out for a while. Like I probably was on a certain.
I'm doing that right now. I just said I'm willing to give it time, and I'm not worried. What more do you want from me with the portal?
Third banner, third bummer.
I'm not worried about the portal, guys.
And if we keep it up with these donations for shirts, we're about to be the third boner.
I'm not worried about the portal yet. And
that's the only fan.
I mean, let me say this: all the actions that PK is doing out there, man. I don't have a reason to be worried right now.
No,
we're on every freaking list. Like I see our name on so many recruiting lists. I feel like we're the new Arkansas. So I'm hopeful. I know he's out there busting his ass. And by the way, we had a couple of high school guys in 25 class. One of them's like a top 10 or 20 player.
Yeah.
And we've reached out to them. So no, I'm not worried right now. I'll find another reason to worry because that's what I do, but it won't be about
nobody's worrying right now. Lore says, what's the latest on Maddox? So he's on campus right now. I think we all saw an update earlier from the Illinois side. I think it was. They said that they are losing confidence on the Illinois side. They think that Louisville's going to give them a pretty big bag. So I think as of right now, everybody feels good. You would love to see him actually commit on the visit or right shortly after, but we'll see. I think everybody on the Louisville side right now feels really good, though.
Yeah, I think somebody in the Discord said it well. Like every school says that they're hearing that they're the leader for Maddox, so he's really just a good negotiator, or nobody really knows. But Ty's right though. Like I think right now, supposedly Louisville's willing to drop the biggest bag for him. We'll see if that pays off or not, because I heard he has like teammates in Illinois.
Unintended.
Right. But like Kyle, doesn't he have teammates at Illinois or something?
He has a couple of close friends. I don't remember if they were teammates of his in the past, but he does have a couple of close friends on Illinois' team, and he's from there. So that is a concern. And I mean, there has been some talk that Xavier's in the lead. There's a few people think that. Here's what I think he's doing. I think Dante Maddox has told everybody they're in the lead, or maybe not told them, hey, you're in the lead, but made them feel like they're in the lead. Which, oh, by the way, that is a smart thing to do as a player and as a player's camp, is to make every school feel like they are in the lead, because that's how you're going to get the biggest leverage and the biggest bag. I mean, and it is a business. Somebody got kind of offended, I think, today because I made a comment like I don't remember who, as a Washington kid, because he came out of nowhere to visit. And it's like, well, obviously he's just intrigued by the name on the front of our jersey and our historic tradition, unlike many others. And I said, no, I'm just kidding. We must be about to drop a bag. And it was supposed to be like funny, but somebody got real offended by that. But I was like, dude, that's the name of the game. None of these kids are coming because they're dying. If you're not from Louisville, you're not coming to Louisville or anywhere because you just love their tradition. Like I love when that was a thing when I was younger, but it's just not a thing now unless you go to your hometown team, or maybe your dad played somewhere and you're like, I want to follow in his footsteps, something like that, some sort of historical like attachment to a program. You're going to wherever you fit, and if they drop a bag, and usually it's the first one, or the latter is actually the more important. So, like Johnny Broom. Trent says Johnny Broom would be a nice ad. Johnny Broom is leaving leaving Auburn because he's probably getting a huge bag somewhere. He already got a huge bag at Auburn, so he's probably won a bigger bag. Just how it is, man.
And I'm not here to bust your balls, Kyle, but that is Janai Broom.
Whatever.
But no. Janai Broom would be
Johnny.
I know what it looks like, but I'm just saying.
I think people just pronounce their names different just to confuse me.
It's Janai Broom, but anyways,
Janai Broom. Janai
Broom would be awesome.
Merchant.
Yes.
No, for sure.
Well, I think we're kind of reaching the point of the show where we're just kind of talking in circles. So, I do want to mention a few things before we get out of here. So we did have the bracket challenge. That of course is obviously over. So, I've already talked to Ray. For anyone in the comments, Ray ended up winning. Ray Lott. So he's going to get that $50 gift card. We're reaching out to him. Tron, I don't know if you're in here, Tron. I messaged you the other day and you haven't said anything back to me, but
that sounds like Tron, to be honest.
Tron, if you're listening, bro, you finished second. So you actually get a $25 gift card. And I think our third place, actually Ross knows him, so he's handling that. So congratulations to Ray for winning the first annual Third Banner Pod Bracket Challenge. And Tron, if you're listening, brother, reach out to me. I tried yesterday. You just ignored me. I'm kind of hurt. So, anyways,
who got third? Didn't somebody get third?
The other week I said, on Wednesday I said, I'm not allowed to read off the bracket challenge list. I'll leave that up to Ty. After
I was about to say, the good thing I read it because Josh last week was about to give our gift cards to people at his work.
People he worked in the wrong bracket. Anyway, didn't third place win $10?
Yes, and
who's that?
I can't see it just shows the
D Parker.
Show their names. It was D Parker, but I'm pretty sure Ross knows who that is, and Ross is handling that too.
That one. That's right.
That's what I think.
Here's what's unfortunate for whoever got last place. You have to watch an entire shirtless episode of the Third Banner Pod, and it's a 3-hour episode. That's what you get for losing. It might have been me though. That's unfortunate. That'd be very unfortunate. I might have got last place. I was
Kyle. I was like 70th out of 73. I'm not kidding. It was horrible.
I don't know where I'm at on there, but it wasn't good. And we're supposed to be talking about basketball. And we can't even We can't even place in our own league, man.
Yeah, it's crazy that people listen to my dumb ass sit up here and talk basketball. I finished like dead last in our group, but anyways.
Did we want to say anything about the spring game coming up next week?
Yeah, so that's what I was gonna say. Like, I don't know that we don't have like a real concrete plan, but I think we've kind of talked about, doing a tailgate, right? So we're gonna try to get that info together hopefully this weekend, and as the week goes, we'll try to put it out on socials. But we want to have a little tailgate together. I think Ash is gonna bring a grill in, or we're gonna provide some hot dogs and maybe some burgers, things like that, and the good stuff. And I think Ash mentioned it was like bring your own beer, stuff like that. So we're gonna try to do a tailgate. I think he's planning on it being from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Again, location, we're still working on that. We're gonna try to push that on socials, and hopefully by Wednesday, like the Wednesday show, you guys will be able to kind of cover that more.
If you want to tell us how bad we suck at this, stop on by and we'll give you a hot dog.
And we'll give you a hot dog for your effort.
If you're the guy that got on me for hurrying the episode along on Wednesday because I had a kid that was screaming upstairs and I had to work in 6 hours, and you wanted it to be another hour and a half, let me know about it while we share a hot dog and something to drink. But
it should be a good time. I'm excited.
I was rushing people. It was about 2-hour episode, but I was like, yeah, I got to go to bed, guys. That's the thing, guys. We got to work. Today. We have kids and we work in the morning, and we do this on the side. We start at 9:00, so that's late. Now on a Friday night, it's a little easier. But anyway, yeah, we'd love to see you guys next week.
So if you want to come in, check us out. Like seriously, we'll try to push that info out on socials, and we'll talk to Ash and the group more.
I'm not highlighting that comment. Pat, you're done. I'm gonna ban you. And
Pat,
I ban you, but then you can't be on any future episodes. There you go. Thank you, Larry. Thank you very much. Thank you, guys. A lot of positive comments in here tonight. If you have any constructive criticism, let us know, such as not speeding people up. It's good.
Yep. We accept it all. But anyways, like I was finishing up there, we'll try to push it out on socials Wednesday night show. Hopefully we'll have some more concrete info there. But that is the plan. So you guys want to wrap it up here? Any final thoughts?
Maddox. We got to be automatics.
Mm-hmm.
The commitment, we need it on this visit. We need Maddox, guys. I know people are going to say we don't need them. There's other guys. We need Maddox. Okay,
so
that's all I got.
So
I'm not worried. I'm not worried.
He's worried. So I'll say it a little differently. Maddox this weekend is the home run. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Like that is what we really want to happen. Like that would be ideal scenario. Maybe actually, no, I take that back. Home run is we get Maddox and Boyd. Because I think Boyd can actually play. I mean, if somebody were to get injured, like he's quality depth. Like I'm happy to have him as our, guard coming off the bench. So that's the home run. Like a triple would be Maddox. A double maybe would be Boyd. And so for me, I'm just trying to say there's levels, right? Like it's not all Maddox or nothing. Like, some kind of combination there, and I'll be happy.
But no pressure.
So you're saying there's levels to this, Josh. Like we should tell Trey on Twitter there's levels to this.
Yes.
Oh, Trey UK, you're having a bad day.
No. Trey UK, you loser, get out of here.
You're having a bad time, brother. You talk too much crap, and it backfired.
Yeah, you talk.
We're gonna end on that note. End on a high note.
I agree. Hey, listen, I just want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight. Seriously, we appreciate it. We came in tonight quite literally with absolutely nothing to talk about, and we're an hour and 45 minutes in. So
we are. You guys are the best of Louisville podcast tonight.
We had no plan. There was no nothing. We just came in, turned and went live, and you guys carried us through it. So thank you all for the chat. Everybody tuning in tonight.
Appreciate it, guys.
We appreciate you all. Go thank Cards, go Krogering, and thank you, brother.
Thank you, brother.